Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the best show on this planet, on this side of the Mississippi, and this planet. And I guess the second one was implied by the first part. You get the point. It's Breakdown with Hansen and Brown. I am, of course, Hansen, and my co-host to the right is... My right? No, you are definitely to my left.
You didn't have to correct yourself. Nobody can see you.
That's a good point. Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing well, David.
How well are you doing?
Well, I'm guessing I slept longer than you did, so probably pretty good.
Are my eyes that tired, Joe?
No, you just sound tired.
Do I sound
You
drowsy?
sound like you need to take a nap. Another nap.
Well, I'm going to stop sounding like that because the only thing that you guys get are the sound of my voice. So I will pick it up. I'll pick up the energy.
Woo!
Yep. I'm going to act like I just had a whole batch of coffee. All right, anyways.
So they cleared my desk. I have a little desk that I sit at when we do this show, and it normally has a bunch of knickknacks on it for me to fiddle with.
Sure
The only
does.
thing on it today is a red pencil.
They moved everything to your left. There's the telephone with no cord is to your left, a newspaper declaring that the students to vote on
The Kingfisher
The
mascot.
Kingfisher.
Yeah, before we go to David talking about how unhappy he is with the Kingfisher mascot, a disclaimer that I believe I will be reading today.
You are right. Let me quickly pull out a stop clock.
I think my time to beat's 13 seconds.
You're right. This would be an important thing for us to clarify this disclaimer before this
Okay.
topic. All right.
Before Pizza FM gets shit for us talking about the... Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
3, 2. Oh, wait. Actually, you start and I'll click the timer.
You're listening to Pizza FM, freeform non-commercial college radio broadcast in a partnership with Unit 1 Living Learner Community and the University of Illinois. The views expressed by individuals on Pizza FM are not necessarily those of Unit 1 or Pizza FM as a whole. Pizza FM is made possible through the generous support of SORF, the 1867 Society, CRFB, and listeners like you.
All right. So it was faster this time, but it was still... It was not sub 13.
It was messed up because every time I get close to the part at the end, I always freak myself out if I'm going to remember CRFB because I messed it up last time.
Yeah.
And it's just like... I just have to like really memorize like SORF, 1867 Society, CRFB.
SORF.
As I start to get close, I start messing up because I'm like reading it ahead of time. I think I just need to memorize this disclaimer so that the next time I can blaze it.
We got very close. You got very close.
Yeah.
Official time was 13.41 seconds.
13.4 seconds.
All right,
So,
Joe.
let's talk about the Kingfisher mascot.
Let's talk about the Kingfisher mascot.
Before we talk about the Kingfisher mascot, we should first make it clear that David Hansen and I were both on the alma mater boat and are very disappointed that the alma mater was not given a chance by the students of Illinois.
So sad. Now, this isn't necessarily guaranteed to be our mascot right now. It made it through the student vote. Now, I believe it has to go to the board. My article might say something about that. It's all right, I guess. Like, I know they're talking about it being the first female mascot, and that's kind of dope. But, I mean, it's just a bird. There's so many schools that have birds.
We're giving
Mascots
off
that are
strong
birds.
ISU vibes. ISU, the red birds, we're going to become the blue and orange birds, basically.
Right. It's kind of lame. I don't know. If you look at for example, the March Madness tournament coming up, if you look at the mascots of most of the schools that are going to be in there, you're either going to see wildcats or you're going to see some type of bird.
Right. And birds aren't even real.
Birds
I don't
aren't
know why
real.
we got all these fictional characters. Like, I know that, like, some mascots aren't real, like Notre Dame is the Fighting Irish, and we know Irish people aren't actually a thing. Redheads are a ruse, and we know that Alabama's the, like, Crimson Tide? Like, tides are blue. I've been to the ocean. Right? You can't pull a wall over my eye with that one. But this whole bird nonsense, like, there's so many of them. And it's like, haven't we all just accepted that birds are a ruse, perpetuated by the government at this point, and we're, like, continuing to rally behind them?
It is kind of weird. Like, all the fake things that we put as mascots, unbelievable. So, yep, that's the deal going on here at Illinois with our blue and orange bird, the Kingfisher. Oddly enough, the first female mascot is going to be called the Kingfisher.
Interesting.
Because I guess we can't escape the cruel grasp of masculinity.
Disappointing. I don't dislike the logo. Obviously, I can't show our listeners the logo. The logo of the blue and orange bird with the eye is not. I would say it's not aesthetically pleasing. It is kind of nice. It's also nice to just have a mascot in general. But come on,
he kind of looks like Woody Woodpecker.
He does look like Woody. He's got a very long beak. But like the alma otter would have been so lit.
Legendary.
To just like
legendary,
be at like a basketball game, and the alma mater like runs out, and you're like, "It's the otter!
It's the otter!" We could have, like the Orange Crush, like the specific area of the Orange Crush where the people with the best tickets sit. We could have called it like the Otter Box, right? Right. I don't know. There's so many good puns that can come out. I mean, alma otter is
better
already
than
a good
all the
pun.
otters.
Yeah, better than all the otters. The otter side.
I'm trying to look it up, and I'm trying to find schools that have otters as their mascot. And
I can't think
there
of.
are not many. There's apparently Cal State Monterey Bay Otters is a school that has the otters as their mascot.
So we'll be the best
when
school
I looked
with the
up
Almer.
schools with otters as their mascot, the third image option was a photoshopped image of an otter with a University of Illinois basketball jersey.
Yes.
Because the alma otter made headlines. People love the alma otter.
I remember this came out when we were still in high school, and
one of the reasons I wanted to come to the University of Illinois.
Correct.
I really believed in the alma otter.
And I was on the newspaper staff because I just wanted to write satire and I just wanted to complain about people, but had the veil of that I'm writing something. That's not actually true. You get what I mean. Satire is fun to write because you can make fun of other people, while also pointing out stuff that you think is wrong. You can use your humor for good. Well, my teacher was telling me, like, hey, you should write some serious news articles, too. So I wrote one about the alma otter, and I got passionate about it. Because there are a lot of good reasons they have the alma otter. For example, did you know that there's an otter in every county in Illinois? Did you know that, Joe?
I did know that, but...
After the 1989... like the Environmental Protection Act or something. I don't know exactly what the act was, but in 1989, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources made a giant effort to reintroduce them into the state because they were going extinct in the state, and now there's an otter in every single county in Illinois. That's kind of cool. Also, it fits in with the Big Ten theme, the Wisconsin Badgers, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I don't know.
We should have been the U of I mangooses. We should have gotten a mangoose.
Yeah? Why the mangoose?
Why the mangoose? Because it fits with the theme, one. And two, I'm just remembering a video of Snoop Dogg doing nature documentary soundovers or voiceovers. And one of the ones that was like my absolute favorite was a bunch of mangooses that were getting attacked by a crocodile. And then they like fought back against the crocodile. And Snoop Dogg's like, oh, they don't cur. Oh, look at what are them? Oh, I know those are the mangooses. Oh, they hitting at him. That's a crocodile. It's amazing.
I remember the honey badgers don't care phase. When we were like in 5th grade. I'm glad we did not go with the honey badger because I feel like that's a stale meme. That'd be like making Bad Luck Brian your
honey badger
mascot.
Don't care. Honey badger don't give a shit.
Honey badger don't care. Yeah, I don't know. There was that other, it was just like an army troop or guy or something like that someone else came up with for the mascot.
Wow.
That seemed kind of generic. I don't know. The alma otter just has something special.
I think we just have really high standards for mascots. We came from a high school with a very good mascot.
Really? Was it that good?
I love the Duke.
The Duke was all right. Do you remember? Okay, so there was this time when we were a senior and we were at this pep rally or something near the end of the year where everyone was in the auditorium or the gymnasium, all grade levels, and they come out and they're like, we've got to celebrate York's 100th year or something like that. We got this special surprise.
And it was a new Duke costume.
It was. They have this curtain over like a lump, and we're like, oh, is it going to be like a medallion? Is it going to be something cool? They rip it off, and it's just another Duke costume, and there's nothing different except maybe it got a monocle this time.
It's just like it's not. I feel like the implication is that they've had the same Duke costume for 100 years and they just now replaced it, and that has me concerned.
Yeah, I
for
feel bad.
Whoever was wearing the Duke costume.
Whoever was wearing that in its 99th year, God, their immune system must be garbo.
Oh my goodness. But I liked the originality. Like, I've never seen another place with the Duke as a mascot. I loved the color green that we had as our school colors.
Yeah, the nice Kelly green. I'll agree with you there.
Enjoyed. I liked Monocle Nation as like a rally cry.
Yeah.
I liked Go Dukes in general. I
Duke
don't know.
up.
I thought it was, and the idea of just like some dude with a top hat and a monocle being like your mascot, I enjoyed it. And considering all of the shade I get at U of I from people from the west suburbs, basically accusing me of being rich because I'm from Elmhurst, which is garbage.
Especially when we're right next to like Oakbrook and Hinsdale, who are far richer.
They should really, I mean, Stevenson, Glenbrook North, both of the Hinsdale schools. Like, York is definitely not the bougie school in that area.
I'm not saying we're not like. I'm not saying we're lower middle class, but we certainly aren't on the like. We're not the peak of the suburbs.
But if we're gonna get accused of being bougie, like, screw it. Our mascot is a rich dude. The Duke. The one thing I'll say that's really good about our name is that every year we had this thing at our high school called, what was it? The King of the Couch. It was our replacement for Homecoming Queen and Homecoming King. Instead, what they did is they had teams of 4 compete with some Duke pun as their name and Duke themed, who had the most school spirit. So teams of seniors, it had to be seniors, would go around to different like sports events and like cheer people on. They get points for that. They'd have to run around on Fridays and do stuff. I got on a team. Our team name was Duke It Out. David, I believe you won our senior.
I don't like to brag, but like it allows for a lot of creativity because you could only do so much with like,
I pitched
Kingfisher.
I pitched so many King of the
York
Couch
Chops.
The York Chops was my favorite.
Incredible.
The idea was everyone does Duke puns, but we're York High School, so it was going to be the York Chops, and we were all going to dress up as pigs with top hats and monocles. And the idea was that I was going to pick my gymnast friends, and we were going to like do parkour in the hallways. I never had time to do King of the Couch. It's very time consuming.
That would have been so legendary to just see you do a backflip in a pig costume.
I would have been doing side flips and shit through the hallways, backflips, all sorts of stuff. It would have been really fun. But other amazing groups that have happened in the past, there have been the Scooby Dukes.
Scooby Dukes.
There was our freshman year, which I think was the strongest 2-team run that there's ever been, which was Duke Dynasty versus the Gospel According to Duke, both of which were very strong groups. I think it could have gone either way. We've had the Pokey Dukes. We've had How the Duke Stole Christmas. We've had... So this year, where we're not at York anymore, I don't know anything about this team or how they did, but I love the name Dr. Dukenschmerz. I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
You might disagree with
me. They didn't do so. I believe. Those are friends of ours, and unfortunately, I think their whole team wasn't as committed as some of our friends would have liked them to be.
Yeah, that's gross. But
I think
Duke of the Loom, they all dress up as like fruit.
Incredible.
Fruit of the Loom.
I think the best name so far and the best overall group. Mm-hmm. Like if I had to pick and they ended up winning their year.
Right.
Better than the rest of any of the groups. Just presentation, costume, everything was Slam Dukes.
I was a big fan of the Slam Dukes.
Legendary. It was so simple but so perfect.
And they got Snapchat filters and stuff for the football games, so like you could put like a Snapchat filter that had like the Go Slam Dukes on it, like at the advertising, they'd carry around mini basketball hoops and then like dunk on people in the hallways.
That was so good.
It was amazing.
Genius.
So we got to vote. Part of the scoring system was a vote. And I voted for the team that won all 4 years of high school. I never got it wrong. I got Duke Dynasty, the Slam Dukes, Pokey Dukes, and then Duke It Out. Now, to be fair...
I got Pokey Dukes wrong.
I loved the Pokey Dukes. They filmed a video where they were running with the cross-country team playing the Pokemon theme song, and they instantly had my vote. They also passed out red and white wristbands that said Pokey Dukes on them and had Pokeball insignias. I got one from my math teacher who picked one up and didn't want it. So that was pretty fun.
Well, they wanted to be the very best.
Like no one ever was.
Yeah.
I never got it wrong. To be fair, I don't know if I would have actually voted for Duke It Out had I not been your friend and known that you guys were winning the competition, because I don't think you guys had my favorite theme.
That's okay. We
But
had your
I
favorite
knew-
personalities.
Right, but I
Wink.
knew you guys were gonna win, and I didn't want to lose my perfect record at that point.
It was, you can't break the 4 for 4. It was a tight race.
There were some good themes, but some teams that just didn't put a lot of effort into the events and just had no chance of winning.
What was your favorite theme? Teenage Mutant Ninja Dukes?
No, I'm trying to remember now.
Duke Perfect?
Oh, definitely not Duke Perfect.
Ouch. Disco Dukes.
Maybe. I did like the Disco Dukes.
They were fun.
I did like the Disco Dukes because every time I went to my music production class, I had one of the Disco Dukes in my music production class, and then Kate and Katie Klug would always be like roller skating past, and they were like always playing September on a speaker.
Yep.
So they're like blasting September and grooving out because they're like Disco Dukes. They're all like 70s. I thought that was really fun.
Kate, of course, being Kate Gerke, who we've previously had on the show.
Twice.
You can check on that. The episode that actually did make it to YouTube, you can check on that one if you go to our YouTube channel. Sorry to plug stuff right now, but if you want to watch or hear our previous episodes, they're up on YouTube. Just look up Breakdown with Hansen and Brown.
Yep. Fun competition all around.
So
and all of it made possible by the amazing versatility of Duke puns.
Yeah. And the other thing we nailed with a Duke pun, which I almost forgot, but the most legendary thing that I think happened in our 4 years was someone made the Snapchat filter while we were at a football game that said, Duke's out for Harambe.
Duke's out for Harambe.
Legendary.
Legendary.
Or Big Duke Energy.
Big Duke Energy. I'm a big fan of Big Duke Energy.
We wanted to make that our senior shirt, but
totally
obviously obviously that became a problem, and we ended up going with a Friends theme, which was kind of lame. Actually, the shirt ended up looking pretty good. It's just, it's Friends. It's all right.
I'm not a big fan of Friends.
I feel like it's been done,
It
But
actually
I don't
has
want to
been
criticize.
done. Other schools
I don't want
have
to
the same
criticize the
design.
people who made it because it looked very, very good,
Right.
and it was still a fun wear. It's just, I think we were just disappointed we couldn't do Big Duke Energy.
Yeah, there were a lot of disappointing things our senior year. We almost lost our senior quotes due to previous years. We lost most of our off-campus privileges that we had at our high school,
Yeah, that was kind of whack.
which was stupid because it had nothing to do with us. But like the previous year had been so obnoxious that they were like, "We don't think you guys should be able to just go and come and go as you please with your lanyards." It used to be at our high school, if you were a senior, you had off campus and you could basically go and do whatever you wanted at any time. You could walk in and out of the cafeteria, walk in and out of the library, go to a class, leave the class. Like if you had a free period and you weren't accountable to be anywhere, you could pretty much do whatever you want. My brother had a study hall his first period, his senior year, and he just slept in and just didn't go to that class in the morning and just slept in a little bit, and he had like a late arrival. Because like you didn't have to be there if you had the off campus.
Yeah, if
they
you had a
completely
study hall
changed
for
that.
free.
They removed all of those privileges. Not
Lame.
only were you no longer able to like go and come and go as you please, like we used to be that everybody could leave at the halfway bell during lunch periods, like to go to the library or to go to the cafeteria, and like they could leave between those places, and they made it so that you could only show up at the beginning of the period, and then you couldn't leave until the last bell. Even if you had off campus, you had to stay the entire period. So you had less privileges than you did the year before with off campus. The only difference was you were allowed to leave the building, but only if you happened to be able to leave right during the passing period of your lunch period. Except for the fact where by the end of the year, the hall monitors were so bad at checking if people had off campus that everyone was just leaving the school whenever they wanted, which was also sort of annoying because then like we waited 3 years to get off campus privileges and now everyone has them and we can't even go around the school as we please. It was pretty stupid.
Yeah, I remember our senior year, they started giving out these stickers that you'd put on the back of your ID. And the sticker basically had what privileges you could leave with. And you get a different sticker for each thing. So if you had an AP Science Lunch Lab, you had to get an AP Science Lunch Lab sticker. If you had an AP lab, or if you had a lab for music, lunch lab for music, you had to get a lab sticker. If you were a peer tutor, you had to get a peer tutor sticker. And if you're in multiple things, your ID just becomes crowded with all these, like, they're like full
They took up most
banner
of the
stickers.
ID. You could probably fit 2, maybe 3 of those things crammed together on an ID.
And it felt so childish. It felt it felt so degrading to be. It felt like we're like in elementary school again, and they're like, "Here's a sticker. Here's your sticker. Put it on. Gold star."
What I really don't understand, like two things mainly. Like I understand the idea behind why they wanted to do it. Like they wanted to make sure that people were like accountable. There weren't kids like roaming through the halls destroying shit. Like,
Right.
I get that, but two things. The first is they would not let you into certain areas other than the cafeteria during your lunch period if you didn't get there before the bell, which is really, really stupid for a couple reasons. The first is I like to, I don't know, use the bathroom at the beginning of my lunch period because, like, I don't like doing it in between passing periods between my classes. Maybe I need more than 6 minutes. Maybe screw you. I don't want to deal with kids vaping in the bathroom during the passing period, so I wait until it's my lunch period. And then you're a couple minutes late to the library. Now they don't want to let you into the library because you're a little late. You have to go down to the cafeteria. Well, I don't want to eat. I want to do my homework. And they're like, well, too bad. Well, the thing is, if the goal was to get kids from wandering in the hallways to be like in an area where they're accounted for, I'm trying to enter an area where I will be accounted for, and you are forcing me to go back out into the hallways where you don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I could go down to the cafeteria, but maybe I'm just going to go sit next to my locker because the cafeteria is loud and I don't want to be down there. Like, I'm trying to enter a place that you want me to be, and you're not letting me into that place. How did that system make any sense? And the second reason,
very counterintuitive.
The second reason why I think it's really stupid, and I don't know if York's still using this system. To my knowledge, they didn't change it going into this year. The second reason why I think it's really dumb is because, one, I have done a lot of wandering in the halls during my free periods over the years, and I have run into people doing stupid things. And then I've run into them getting caught by hall monitors because York has like 70 million hall monitors walking through every hallway. Even when I know where I'm supposed to be, and I'm like walking at the like last minute of a passing period to get somewhere, hall monitors still yell at me like, where are you supposed to be right now? I'm like, in the hallway. Bell hasn't rung yet. Why are you yelling at me? Like, they're everywhere. So why is it an issue that kids could potentially be in the hallways? Like, if they're doing things they shouldn't, they're going to get caught by one of the hall monitors. The hall monitors are everywhere. So why force students to stay in a certain area when it completely inconveniences everyone? It made it impossible to go to the math lab if you needed help unless you happened to get a note from your math teacher. And what if you decided you wanted to go to the math lab at the beginning of the day and you don't have math class until after your lunch period? Like,
Right, you don't get a math lab sticker.
So many stupid rules where they were just restricting our freedom and just making it harder to be a good student.
Yeah, but that's all right. And to be clear, for Joe's point, you did have to swipe in or scan your ID to get into the library, so you would be accounted for if you were in the library. But I don't want to dwell on too much of the past. But it is a ridiculous system. It was good intention, but horrible execution. And it made you feel. It felt ridiculous. So, for those of you excited about going to college, there's a good reason why. We don't have to. No, there's no hall monitors outside when you're walking between classes to tell you to hurry up off the sidewalk. So, life is good in college. We just wish we had a better mascot. Now, Joe, there's something kind of unavoidable. Typically, we like to talk. I know the previous example was not the best example, but we like to keep it light. We like to talk about fun stuff. We like to have a good time on here. But sometimes there's things that are just so prevalent in our society that we need to talk about it. You can't not talk about it. And obviously, that thing is coronavirus right now. I feel like that is obviously where I'm going with this. We are not experts. I'd like to start this out with. If you have any questions, any whatsoever, no one on the internet that you're going to find is as good of an expert as just going to the CDC's website. So don't take just random people's advice. Don't panic because your cousin called and said, "Shoot, dang it, we're all gonna die." No. Don't panic. Just be smart. Read the website. Do what you need to do, and it'll be good. The reason we should talk about it on this show is because we might have to take a brief hiatus. So next week is spring break, and after spring break, it's looking highly likely that they're going to suspend classes for 2 weeks, which means this show will likely not be on air in those 2 weeks. So you're gonna have to go a little bit without our sultry voices. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want it either. I wish I could stay in this radio studio and talk to you guys, but alas, I must study from home. Here's the reason Joe in particular doesn't like studying from home. Joe, why don't you describe why you think you are getting robbed by being forced to stay at home?
I am paying $32,000 a year to attend this university for reasons that are largely unclear, because that price is ridiculous. And you would imagine that a part of that price has to do with the experience of being a member of the University of Illinois campus.
Or the upkeep of the classrooms.
Upkeep the classrooms.
The transportation.
Interaction with professors.
Mm-hmm.
Access to free extracurricular activities.
Yep.
And yet, I will continue to pay my full tuition, even though I will be attending basically the University of Phoenix for at least the time being. Which is ridiculous.
It is totally ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Why do I gotta pay that kind of money if I'm gonna have to be forced to? I don't want to pay $32,000 to be sitting at home with my family and then occasionally going on my computer to talk about the Iliad.
Dude, and I'm a computer engineering student. I'm taking mostly math and coding classes this semester. Like, I have a $20 a month Code Academy subscription. Like, why am I still paying $15,000 for this semester?
Right.
If I'm not going to be on campus and you're just going to give me internet resources. Like, I can watch YouTube videos.
Can we get a refund for our lab fees?
And our lab fees? I'm in a lab this semester that is going to be canceled if we have to be off campus. Or at the very least, if it's only a week, I'm going to have to remake that lab at some point during the week. And if it's longer than a week, we're going to have to finish that lab at some point. And if they reschedule it, then I'm guessing not everyone in my lab group is going to be able to attend the same new lab session because our schedules will be different. I've spent the last 5 weeks doing a project with 3 different people. And I'm going to have to finish the rest of the semester with new people. Which one of us gets to keep the lab that we've been working on so far? Like, we have a half-assembled RC car, basically.
And what about our music majors? It's like they are paying to be taught in person by these professionals, you know? Right. Online classes for singing or for playing an instrument doesn't really work. You don't get to play with your full ensemble. And most especially, I believe we should be refunded for room and board because we will not be paying for room or board. I don't know. That's like putting a down payment on a house and then the bank tells you, oh, you can only use like the bottom floor. Upper floor, can't use. I get you're paying for the top floor, but you know it's under quarantine right now. You can't use it. I don't know, Joe. I don't know. And there's not much you can do about it because, yes, we do need to be careful with Corona. We don't know too much about it, but what we do know is that it is highly infectious. And even though while it's not a necessarily huge risk of mortality for people our age, we don't want to go on spring break, come back, spread it to the rest of the university, right, and then go home and spread it to our families.
Right.
So I understand the reasoning why they are suspending classes. I don't believe that we should not suspend classes, especially with the little information that we have. I believe that is probably a good decision, especially that we're going on spring break because there are going to be people who travel regardless. I just think we should get some kind of financial compensation. And you know what? I get that our views aren't expressed views expressed by individuals on PizzaFM are not necessarily those of Unit 1 or PizzaFM. But I think I can stand for a majority of the student population when I say that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I don't think anybody's excited about the idea of paying for something they're not getting. Now, that being said, I do stand by the fact that there are a lot of low-income workers that do certain jobs at the university that I think deserve to keep their paycheck, even though we are being forcibly quarantined. And I would be willing to pay the portion of my tuition that goes to that. But I also feel like a large portion of the tuition just goes into the pockets of the university to do whatever they want with it. And I think the university can deal with that money for the time being.
I agree.
The university has plenty of money to do whatever it wants. And it can, I mean, the chancellor, do you know how much the chancellor makes?
Probably a lot.
Like $6 million a year. He just got a pay raise.
I-
Tuition just went up, and the chancellor just got a pay raise.
And I don't want to pay for a good /service that I'm not using, you know?
Yep.
You know, I'm already going to be so far in debt, you know? Listen,
If I wanted
Mr.
to
Chancellor,
go to the
Mr.
University of Phoenix, I would have gone to the
6
University of Phoenix.
I would have typed in www.universityoffphoenix.edu. I think that's the website. I don't know. I guess we'll have plenty of time to find out. So, Joe, what I want to talk about today is because we're all going to be quarantined at our own houses, like what do they call it? The home prison? What do they call it when you lock someone down at home?
Oh, house arrest?
House arrest. Since we're all going to be under house arrest, what's something you can do
I'm
while
so
you're
glad you
bored?
asked. If you are sitting alone in your room and bored, you are now in Joe Brown's element. I spent my entire childhood sitting alone in my room. So here are a list of things that you can do to entertain yourself. You can play video games on your laptop computer that you usually use for educational purposes. You can watch YouTube videos on your cellular device. You can play video games while you watch YouTube videos on your cellular device. You can play a card game by yourself.
Like solitaire.
You can cry trying to play a 2-player card game by yourself as you remember that you have no friends and the stuffed animal that you propped in front of you falls over and he's terrible at war, but I mean, games gotta happen, and to be honest, war is just chance anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you have someone to play against because they're just going to be picking random cards, but you know, it's usually the bond, the friendship, the conversation that you have with someone while you're playing a game of war that makes it enjoyable, and by golly, Mr. Stuffins is just not really much of a conversationalist, so this isn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. I'm sorry, what was the question?
You could try cooking. You know, maybe brush up on some skills with the oven. Maybe bake a little bit. Get some sweet treats that you can't share because you made them without wearing gloves. You could tune into a news station and stay informed about the political climate and the election that are coming up. Never mind. Why would you do that?
No, don't do that one.
Yeah,
That's
definitely don't do that.
You could go on YouTube.com and watch every episode of Breakdown with Hansen and Brown.
It would take you about, I don't know, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah, that would kill a couple hours.
Yeah, that
I'd kill a while.
Really, you'd really kill some time. Like you would be murdering your time by doing that. But I still recommend that you do it.
If you have a piano somewhere in your house and you don't know how to play piano, you could pick up piano.
Now is the time. You could pick up that piano and then you can set it down somewhere and play it.
You could pick up that piano and then set it down, and then pick up that piano and then set it down, and then pick up that piano and set it down, and then take a 2-minute rest before your next set. This is how you're going to get super big and buff so that you can impress the ladies when you get back on campus.
And if you are a lady, that still applies to you because you do want to impress the other ladies.
Yeah, and also when you get back on campus, if some creepy dude starts following him, you just remember your training and you pick him up and then put him down somewhere disgusting and then walk away.
Like a trash can or Bromley Hall. Sorry. That was...
Oh my goodness.
That was
Bromley Hall. Bromley Hall is like if somebody decided to build a 13-story building, but every single floor, all of the architects just gave up and left, and they had to hire new people. And the new people are like, well, that was terrible. We're not going to do that. And then they'd build the next floor entirely different. And then the same thing would happen until you get to the 13th floor. And then after all of this is done, you pick 13 different people to select a scent for each floor, and they all just go very avant-garde with it. That is how Bromley Hall looks and smells. Every single floor of Bromley has a new, distinct smell. You'll be like, cinnamon and weed, or gummy bears and paint thinner.
Yeah, it's like good smells. It's like all of them had the choice in a Bean Boozled box of like between the good one and the bad one, and they all chose wrong.
And they all got the bad jelly bean. And we could say this from experience because, what was it, yesterday?
Yesterday.
God, time passes. Yesterday, we went up every single floor of Bromley trying to find a study room that wasn't full of people so that we could play board games with our friends. We checked every single floor. Every floor, the color in the staircase changed, like the paint was a different color. Every floor, the paint in the hallways was a different color, and every floor you'd open the door and a completely brand new, distinct smell would hit you.
It was like the walls were painted with scratch and sniff stickers.
And most of them were mixed with weed, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was kind of like going in the Wonka factory if Wonka was like an absolute stoner.
I mean, it would make sense. He constantly surrounds himself with candies and treats. Sounds like a behavior of a stoner. Or
does.
if the Oompa Loompas were all stoners in their pastimes.
Right. They all get the munchies and... God, Bromley is a whack place. Bromley is a whack. So if you're looking to stay at a university, if you want somewhere or anywhere on the university, if you want somewhere that's smelly but I think throws parties every night in the dorms, Bromley is the place for you. If you want a normal living situation, not Bromley is the place for you.
Not Bromley. Coming to you.
Not Bromley.
Fall 2020.
Other things you can do while you're alone and passing your time. You can catch up with your parents. Catch up with your siblings. Maybe stay away from your grandparents in case, you have the disease. You don't want to get them sick.
You don't want to get your grandparents.
You don't want Grandma just made you cookies. You don't want what do you want? You monster. Don't give her. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get away from Grandma. Stupid.
Hey, you. Don't touch my grandma.
Hey, yo. Other things you can do. You could try origami.
Ooh.
You could watch the men's men's or women's March Madness basketball tournament.
You could.
Because they are still going to have the tournaments, just with no fans. Which is kind of brilliant. Because a bunch of people are held hostage at their homes. They're going to want to watch TV. Why move the date of the tournament when you have a captive audience?
Yeah, that's
what else are they going to watch?
What else am I going to watch? You could video chat your friends because, you don't want to go see them in person. They might have the disease, you paranoid little person.
You could travel abroad. Airfare tickets to Europe are cheaper than ever. And if you come back after the 2-week break they give us off campus, or for the 2-week break they're going to give us, you get an extra 2 weeks because you'll be in quarantine.
David, I just noticed something that's probably a huge issue.
What?
So the combination of things that have happened, the United States not providing free tests to the low-income people who potentially have coronavirus.
Yeah.
Airfare going down a lot because nobody wants to fly.
Yes.
People that are typically in low-income situations suddenly having the ability to travel places they've always wanted to go to because airfare is low, so they want to go on those trips while the tickets are cheap.
Yes.
People that potentially have the disease but don't know because they won't go to the doctor because they can't afford it are getting on planes to go to places they've never been before because the tickets are cheap and spreading the disease to other places. And all of this could have been prevented if the United States had a free healthcare system. Single-payer healthcare works in every other country in the developed world. What the hell, United States?
You could try drawing. Maybe bust out some markers, some colored pencils, some crayons, maybe some oil paints. Go get some acrylics or something. Oil. Go Bob Ross on that stuff.
There are 3 seasons of painting with Bob Ross on Netflix.
Go watch that. Bob Ross deserves it. He deserves it.
You know what Bob Ross would say about the coronavirus?
It's a happy little accident?
He would say it's a happy little accident.
I think he would say, oh, crap, I don't want that. No, he'd say, oh, good thing I'm already dead. Ha-ha. Just kidding. I miss Bob Ross. You could write a paper for that class that you've been putting off for so long. You could continue to procrastinate on that paper, which is what more likely you're going to do.
You could do all of your homework for the entire semester ahead of time so that when you get back on campus, you can do nothing but nonstop party until finals.
Oh, my gosh. Imagine when we get back, Cam's is going to blow up. Everyone's going to be like, I missed you.
Okay, but imagine if you actually did have access to all of your homework and stuff for the entire semester.
That's not a bad idea.
And you decided to, and I don't think this would actually even take you very long. If you really dedicated your time, like a full-time student, but without the classes, you could finish all of your coursework for the rest of the semester, aside from your tests and whatnot.
I mean, you might have to teach yourself a couple of things.
Yeah, you'd have to teach yourself ahead. But we're imagining you're a studious, competent person. Imagine getting back on campus, let's say, I don't know, beginning of April. You have 3-4 weeks of class where you've already done all of your work. You don't have to go to lectures. You don't have to do your homework. your entire schedule is fully open the entire day.
So then why would you be paying to go to school?
Because I was paying to be at home, and I'd rather be on campus than back in Elmhurst.
Cheers.
The only reason it's going to be even slightly tolerable to be in Elmhurst is because, like, most of my college friends are from Elmhurst anyway.
I mean, you have some of us, but you have a good amount. You've expanded. Your variety has broadened.
The people that I hang out with is mostly York kids.
Well, that's because we're the coolest kids around, baby. Also, half of our senior class basically goes to U of I, baby.
Hail to the orange, hail to the green, hail York 2.0.
I have to sneeze.
Oh, no. No.
Just kidding, haha. Ho-ho. Well, Joe, we're coming near where we have the 15-minute mark left.
Coronavirus coming to college campuses near you. Oh, wait, you know what I never got to say, which is a comment that I wanted to make about the mascot thing?
Please.
Can I just plug real quick? It's the thing about how people didn't want the alma mater because alma mater is not unique to the University of Illinois.
Oh.
And making a pun off of it is not like... Whatever, that's garbage. You want to know why? Because the word "the" is not unique to Ohio State, and that didn't stop them from trademarking it.
Trying
and failing to trademark it.
And they didn't trademark the. They trademarked the. They tried to trademark the because it comes before a vowel.
The
Joe.
Ohio State.
The Ohio State University. However, now that I attend the University of Illinois, I would have to agree with you. And I am no longer an Ohio State fan. I was a very big Ohio State fan, and part of my heart still goes out to the Buckeyes in red. But I am primarily, first and foremost, a U of I student right now. I know.
That's very brave of you.
Thank you. How could you say something so brave yet so controversial? Hey, we're the best team out there. We're going to win March Madness this year, even if we can't watch it live.
I'm literally going to be paying to be in a bracket with some of my friends, and I'm going to put U of I going all the way.
You got to.
I have to.
You have to.
I'm not going to bet against Kofi.
You can't.
The dude's an animal.
He's amazing.
He's huge.
Can't bet against Io. Can't bet against Feliz.
Nope.
No, they're too good. Unbeatable. Except the games
Can't
that we
bet
lost
against
this season.
Georgie.
Well, you kind of can bet against Georgie, but
Like
whatever.
Georgie's lots of fun.
So we're going to play a game. There's this game idea that Joe, we've been playing the game for a while, but Joe came up with a much better name for it. So it used to be Name Your Price, where we have to decide on these scenarios that we came up with, how much money it would take for us to take these scenarios, because they weren't great, but hey, money is great. So, it kind of balance it out. Well, now we've decided that instead of making it like a variety of monetary values, we'll make it one single monetary value, and that is the entirety of your student loans.
Right. With previous episodes, it was always how much money would you put into it, and it's always like, I don't know, and everyone like picks like, I don't know, $1 million, $5 million. Dumb.
That's not
Stupid
realistic.
Numbers. Those numbers are not realistic. So let's instead play the game that every American child plays, which is what can I do to get these college loans paid other than working and paying them off, because that's stupid. So the object of the game will be to take whatever task the other person gives you and decide whether or not you would be willing to do that thing or have that effect or condition or whatever it may be if it meant all of your student loans would be wiped.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Easy money.
And Joe came up with a great name for it.
Sticks and stones to pay your loans.
Sticks and stones to play your loans. So today on this episode whatever, Breakdown with Hansen and Brown, Joe and I are going to play a little bit of Sticks and Stones to pay your loans.
I love it.
Joe, I think I, being the oldest of us two, November 9th.
Screw you, but okay.
November 9th. When's your birthday?
November 15th.
Yes, I am older. That's right. Okay. Being the oldest of us two, I will start us off. Joe, to pay your student loans,
Okay.
you would have to compete in the Indianapolis 500 blindfolded.
The race?
Yes.
I've never driven
Oh, I'm well aware. Oh, I am well aware.
So
and you have to do it blindfolded.
So I'd have to drive a very dangerous car
Correct.
that I have no experience driving before.
Correct.
Surrounded by other people driving very dangerous and fast cars, but I'm not allowed to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But think about it this way. You will definitely make ESPN.
I'll make the ESPN obituary list. I'll make the honorable mentions before the Oscars.
Listen,
I'll be dead.
If you live, you don't have to pay your student loans. If you don't live,
you know what? Because of how stupid you made this one, I just came up with a great one for mine. But let me think about this.
Just think about it.
It's like it's high possibility of death.
Is it really?
But if you survive,
you could drive very carefully, and you only have to turn left. It's not that like.
But what if people coming up behind me? If I accidentally clip
someone,
they
can see. They can be like, oh,
they can see,
drive
but
around.
If I accidentally, I've almost run into people while biking around campus that they can't see me, but I can see them because at the last second they turn, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go past this person.
But you know where everyone's going. You know when you watch cars drive, when you watch NASCAR or Indianapolis 500. I think the Indianapolis 500 is the same way. It's not exciting. No one else turns right. It's just going to be like, oh, they're on a straightaway. Oh, they turn left. Oh, they turn left again. Oh, they turn left again. I said "ope" a lot there. I'm a very Midwestern guy.
I mean, I'm just thinking about trying to pull into the pit stop and then just staying there the whole time.
It's simple. It's if that's what you need to do.
I have to race it. I never said I had to do well or even finish it. I'll just automatically get.
You can just be like, "Oh no, my tire's flat,"
and they'll be like, "Oh, we just fixed it up for you." I'm like, "Oh no,
no, I feel it. Something's wrong with the air."
The thing is, I'm blind, and you have me driving a race car.
Your pit crew is also blind to make you feel better.
That does not make me feel better.
What? They're sharing the experience with you, Joe.
No, I wouldn't do it. I'm convinced I'd die.
What if you had someone in your ear, someone helping you out? He's like, all right, Joe, time to turn left.
Are all of the other drivers aware that I'm blindfolded?
Oh, yeah. And they're all making fun of you for it. They're like, this freaking idiot.
Okay, well, I don't mind being made fun of, but if they're aware of me, hopefully they just treat me like an obstacle.
Yeah.
That maybe changes my answer because I trust professional race car drivers to be able to avoid me if I don't do anything too erratic. I could be very.
Yeah, you could be taking a leisurely stroll too. You don't have to go 200 miles per hour.
Is it the beginning of a NASCAR match everybody driving in a pack together, and then because if I'm not driving in the pack perfectly, I'll just cause everyone to spin out. I'll cause a huge accident and I might die.
Well, think about it this way. If you do that, you could bet on the winner. You could bet your $1 million on the winner, and you'd make so much more money. You could determine the outcome of the race. I know that's technically illegal, but you're also blindfolded. So I think you could have passed for this one.
I'm still going to go with no. I don't think it would end well for me.
All right.
Not worth it.
I would take it.
All right. So in the theme of...
I'm an incredible driver.
In the theme of putting a risk on death, and actually I think the one I'm about to give you has a lower chance of death. But more things to consider.
Okay.
To pay your student loans,
yes,
you must contract the coronavirus.
Oh, man.
97% chance of survival. Especially since you're healthy.
Well, yeah, for our age range, from 30% down, or 30 years age down, it's 99.5, I believe.
You have to go through the process of being sick. You'd probably get some of your family members infected too.
Will I know when I get it? Or will it just, the minute I take the $1 million, or not the $1 million, when the million I take the amount it costs to pay off my student loans, will I know that moment I am sick? Because I just quarantined myself, right?
How about this? If you accept it, let's say hypothetically, right now, this is the offer. If you were to accept it right now, sometime over the next week, so I'd say starting Sunday, you would contract it, and then there's a 2-week gestation period.
Right.
So you would know that sometime in the next week you're going to get it, and whether or not it's contagious at that point, any other thing, you're going to get to go back home and situate yourself, but then you are going to have it. And even if you quarantine yourself, you are going to have to go through being sick and having it, and then getting through it, or potentially, it does have a pretty high mortality rate for regular flu.
Well,
you'd probably survive.
yeah, but not that high. Yeah,
would
I have a
probably
99.5% chance of
You
surviving.
would possibly give it to someone else.
Here's my thing. If I know I have it in its early stages,
Yeah.
I could potentially be part of the cure. Like, they could watch as it develops, they can maintain it, and they can see how the virus acts. I could
That's
be part
also
of the cure.
assuming you could, in the next couple days, find people doing that research and prove to them that you're about to contract the virus randomly.
That's true. I can't just go up to people and be like,
Statute of
listen
disbelief,
here. I just got all my student loans paid off for the price of having corona. Help. And they'd be like, yeah, okay.
Like, ah. Also, another thing to consider is if you got the coronavirus, Elmhurst would be plotted as a place that had the coronavirus, which means people would assume that it's traveling out of Chicago because they don't know how you got it. And also, the University of Illinois would know that a university student got it, and then that would cause a panic among kids on campus.
But
so that's something and our classes would be, I mean, this wouldn't matter to you because you'd be sick anyway, but our classes would continue to be online.
But I would have all my student loans paid off.
But you'd have all your student loans paid off, and you would almost certainly survive.
And I might help cure it so that no one at the University of Illinois, no one else gets it.
That is true. If you got it outside of the university would not allow everyone to come back. And even though there was no risk of anybody else getting it, like, everyone would be safe.
Yeah.
Unless they're, like, I don't know, living in California like an idiot.
In a way, it's not selfish for me to get my student loans paid off.
Right. But you should also, again, consider, like, what it's like to have a really bad flu and the possibility that you could die. It's very, very unlikely. But it's more likely than with a typical flu, and you probably shouldn't be going to the doctor's office if you get it.
I raise you this, being $100,000 in debt for 50 years.
Well, you wouldn't be $100,000 in debt for the whole 50 years. You'd start chipping away at it.
So Corona for the rest of my student loans.
Corona for your student loans.
Wow. That's a tough one.
I think this one is more desirable than the NASCAR thing, to be honest with you.
I agree with you, but
I would
my
be
only
more willing
risk
to take that deal over the NASCAR thing.
My only problem is the only thing that's catching me up is with the NASCAR thing, I only have the chance of ruining my own life. If for some reason I don't get quarantined before it spreads to my family.
Right.
Like, you know, that'd be kind of sad. I don't want to get emotional on here, but gosh, I kind of like my family, Joe. It's kind of dark. This is getting kind of dark. This is a very serious and dark episode. I apologize, but if I would be able to prevent my family from getting it by quarantining myself, I would take it. Otherwise, if I'm not able to guarantee that, I probably would not take it.
Okay. I will accept that answer. I do think the coronavirus thing was a better offer than the NASCAR thing.
I agree with you, but
Personally.
it'd be kind of fun to blindfold in the Indianapolis 500.
That would be terrifying.
Well, Indianapolis 500 isn't NASCAR cars. It's
But
those like little.
There's also something to be said about the fact that the current strain of the coronavirus is evidently not super dangerous for most healthy people. And a large risk right now is that it might mutate as more and more people get it, which would be a huge deal because if it mutates and becomes more deadly, once more people have it, then it's really infectious right now. And if it becomes more deadly, like that's a huge issue.
Well, if one of them mutates, it's not like everyone who has it instantly that strand mutates. But yeah, I agree with you. It would be very bad if it mutated. What I'm saying is
that if you got it and then went through the process and healed, you'd probably be pretty inoculated to any future strains.
True.
So you would be safe from.
In a way, it's good to get corona right now. In a way, we are telling our listeners
to go to an airport and lick the railings to inoculate yourself against the worst.
Please.
The views expressed by individuals on PizzaFM are not necessarily those of the CDC or people who have brains.
You heard it here first, folks. Go get corona before it gets worse. No.
It's like the chicken pox. You have to get it when you're really, really young so that you don't have to deal with it again when you're older.
And then possibly get shingles. Wow. Well, this took a very interesting turn that I'm not quite sure. I wasn't quite planning on it taking, but that's okay. That's how the show goes. And we're going to leave you with that message going into what could be a 3-week hiatus. Joe, is there anything else you'd like to say to our listeners before we head out today?
I would like to say thank you for choosing Hansen and Brown for your, I'm guessing, 3 a.m. anxiety-induced YouTube binge, and we hope that our soothing voices have helped quiet the demons in your skull. Thank you for listening all the way to this part of the video, and I hope you're proud of us for actually being under our hour-long time window for the first time on the entirety of this show.
Yeah, that's the first time we haven't gone over. That's kind of incredible.
Yeah, we have to make sure we don't ruin it by accidentally going over now. We have 2 minutes left.
We're very prompt. Good for... You know what? We're kind of the best. We should take 2 minutes to celebrate that.
Woo! All right, 2-minute fist pump going.
Let's get our studio audience in it.
Fist
All right,
pump.
everyone clap. Yeah. Hansen and Brown are the best around. We finished before our hour was up. Okay. Hansen and Brown, they're going downtown. And hopefully they can stay healthy and they'll be around for the next episode. Because we don't want this show to end. It needs both Hansen and Brown for it to continue. And we will both see you after this break. That's some freeform poetry and not really rapping because nothing rhymed. Okay. That just happened.
I wish that had killed more time, but yeah, we're still under time, so why don't we wrap it up?
All right. Joe, thank you for coming in today. Our guest who just for some reason sat there and didn't talk the whole time.
Yeah, Bartholomew, you didn't say a word.
Yeah, what the heck?
And we were really going to talk about your modeling career on top of your astrophysics degree. I mean, we thought that would be like super interesting to talk about. Bartholomew is really shy. He knows it's okay.
Wait, what do you mean your mic wasn't on?
Was he? I have the
Oh,
headphones on. I can't hear any.
That is my bad. That's wow. Okay, let's wrap it up. Thank you all for tuning in, and please remember, do not go lick your airport poles. Instead, lick a popsicle, and then get a separate popsicle for your friend to enjoy. Don't lick the same popsicle, but also lick popsicles with your friends. The end. Good night.